Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whenever the fuck you're watching this episode. Another episode of the Blitz brought to you by Backyard Sports Media. Got the full panel here for you tonight. Beautiful Tuesday evening. It's finally under 90 degrees here in Austin, Texas. Can't really complain there. It's, fall's finally here. We're 80. High was 93 today. Not bad. So, Andy, how are you?
I'm great, living life in the brisk high 30s to low 40s in the morning, 75 by the afternoon. So that's
absolutely not
New York fall.
Yeah. October in upstate New York, you can experience all 4 seasons in a single day.
Unbelievable.
It could be worse. I could be Raul because that's fucking miserable.
Yeah, 90, 93.
The heat definitely gets old. There's no doubt. I won't vouch for it. It was like 3 straight months of 100-degree weather, and we started preheating early. I mean, we were hitting 100 in April.
Siberia.
Yeah, exactly. Gary, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Exciting weekend this past weekend, man. We had some upsets that kind of shook up what we thought we knew about the NFL.
What do we know?
Yeah.
What do we know?
Enough.
I don't know what the fuck I know.
Yeah.
I know I don't know football. I had no clue. I have no clue what's happening this season or what's going to happen. There's like 1 or 2 constants in the entire NFL that we're just like, okay, you're doing kind of what I thought you were going to do. Everyone else is like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And the Cowboys are my constant. I'm these guys are right on target for me, and we'll jump into that a little bit later. But let's dive into last week. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off, starting with Thursday Night Football. Obvious body bag, right? This was my lock. It was clear. 12-30. I don't really have much to go over there. Brock Purdy's looking good. New York's looking bad.
Niners have a top 3 defense and a top 3 offense in the NFL. They're going to be fucking tough to beat this year.
Yeah, they are. Most definitely. Buffalo, Washington, Gary. God, dude. Oh man. Listen, I appreciate that you rode with you. You went down with him, and that was good. You're usually real quick to fucking, step on their neck when they're already down. But this time,
I'm stepping on their neck now.
Yeah, but
I don't know how many.
You're holding the nail.
I don't know if you guys told everyone at home last week, but Raul and I both said that we thought about picking the Commanders.
Yeah.
So
Good thing you didn't.
We're almost criminal too.
Good thing you didn't. Listen, the
better.
score was 37-3. This game was probably a 2-touchdown game, to be honest. Like, if I had to say, like, the difference between the 2 teams, I just want to make a quick announcement for like all sports fans out there, right? But I'll use the DC fan base as like a prime example of let's not get too carried fucking away when we beat the Cardinals and we beat the fucking Broncos, who just got boat raced 70-20, right? We struggled with both teams. I admitted last week I was making a homer pick, but there were literally people around here saying like, we're going to dump Josh Allen on his head, right? Like, let's fucking chill with that. Like, there was some crazy discussions, and I posted it on Facebook fucking 3 minutes into this game. Like, okay, DC fan base, like, here's your reminder that this team is still coached by Ron Rivera and still the most unprepared team when they come out of the locker room at the start of a game. So it was just from the beginning to the end. I'm questioning Eric Bieniemy at this point, because maybe this past game was an example of why he doesn't have a head coaching job. We dropped back 30 times in the first half when we had a guy averaging over 5 yards a carry. We're running the ball 7 attempts between our 2 running backs for 40 yards, and we dropped back 30 times against one of the best disguised defenses in the NFL. We were clearly not prepared to play this game. Defensively, dropping guys way back and letting Josh Allen just run. Like, I don't know what Jack does. Like, does Jack look at 1991 film for fucking Jim Kelly when he's talking about preparing for the Buffalo Bills? Like,
possible.
Yeah.
This is the most unprepared team in football. I will say it fucking every goddamn week until they prove me wrong. We are never, ever prepared to come out of the locker room and actually compete with anybody.
Who's the coaching answer in Washington?
Yeah, and the other thing too is like these are two different teams, right? Washington right now is trying to figure out whether they've got a quarterback, whether they can build around a quarterback. Buffalo is trying to figure out whether they can win a Super Bowl. Those are fucking galaxies apart in the NFL, right? Let's be honest about that. There is a fucking Grand Canyon between teams that are in those stages of building. Looking for a quarterback and competing for a Super Bowl are fucking two completely different things.
Yeah.
Who's the answer at the coach for Washington?
Who's the what?
Who's the answer at head coach? Take your pick.
I mean, we had him on the roster or on the fucking squad fucking 5 years ago, right? 7 years ago, Sean McVay. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who's gonna be. I can't put my finger on it. We don't have him in house. This is not a good coaching staff.
Sean, my coaching tree is younger than me, McVay.
Dude, he's 7 years in the league, still the youngest head coach. Guys from his coaching tree are decades older than
It's ridiculous.
It's wild, dude. It's wild. Yeah, I don't know. It's got to be an offensive-minded head coach, in my opinion. You bring in a guy who's an offensive-minded head coach because we've got to figure out what we have in Sam, and then I don't know, go from there. It's so frustrating to watch this team come out of the locker room and have zero awareness of what's going on around them. You can't drop back 30 times in the first half, and you can't rush up the field against Josh Allen. Like, how in the world did we do that for the entire fucking game? It's so stupid. Yeah.
First half.
It was over in the first half too.
All right. Sorry about the tangent, folks. All right. Andy on Victory Island here, riding with the massage man himself.
Mr. Happy Ending.
Victory speech here. What do you
No,
got?
I mean, just despite that, despite what's happened the first couple of weeks, I do like what I've seen out of Cleveland's defense. I think the offense is slowly catching up, right? So that first week, a little weird taking down Cincy in the rain. Week 2, I felt like they almost seemed a little better to me in some aspects week 2, believe it or not. But yeah, I think week 3 is kind of I think this is a pretty good team. And then Tennessee's kind of goofy, so I won't.
I think the end is very near for Tennessee. That whole they're going into rebuild mode soon. I don't know if it's rebuilding with Vrabes or without Vrabes, but that Derrick Henry feels like he's at the end. Yeah. Did you see Mode? I think you were watching this game, right? Because you mentioned the whole Deshaun Watson throwing the ball backwards thing.
Yeah, I was watching a little bit of it.
Yeah, maybe it was somebody else that mentioned that. But at one point in the game, Tennessee had 2 tight ends basically spying on Myles Garrett, and he ran back and forth across the formation until the play clock ran so low they had to call timeout. That's how scared they were of Myles Garrett. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all because he's a scary fucking human.
Yeah, I mean, there's Myles Garrett. What else can you say about the guy aside from the fact that, he's in the discussion for the best defensive player in the NFL? And yeah, I mean, I think the Browns are a really, really good defense that can play offense. And if that continues to improve and Watson gets it going, I mean, I think this could be a tough team, especially with the Bengals struggling.
Oh, yeah. Burrow ain't right.
Burrow ain't right indeed. Detroit winning at home. 20-6, all of us here, Lions are just a better put together. I mean, they're just a more put together team. They're closer to being good and competitive than Atlanta is, period.
Atlanta's tough, man. I mean, they've got everything's young in Atlanta. Kyle Pitts isn't very good. I'm just to that point with him. Ritter's not very good at quarterback. Bijan Robinson will be fine. Detroit had 1 sack coming into this game, and now they have 8. That tells you a lot. The defense did show up finally for them. As a fan, I was ecstatic to see it. But yeah, Atlanta's got a lot of things to work out.
Yeah, I stand by Atlanta. In my opinion, Atlanta's the worst roster in football. Honestly, I look at that, and that's a team.
I feel like it's always a toss-up between the Texans and the Falcons.
The Texans have a quarterback. I'm convinced that they've got a quarterback. You figure that position out, you can cover up a lot of shit. Atlanta doesn't have a quarterback. Atlanta doesn't have an offensive line, as Mode mentioned, from 1 to 8 sacks, right? Detroit had just not gotten enough pressure. They'd been doing things to get near quarterbacks, but couldn't finish the deal. They got 7 in this game. And defensively, can you name one guy on that defensive side of the ball for Atlanta? They just sneak up on you because they're willing to just run the ball. We're going to bleed the clock as much as possible, and then hope we get a bounce at the end of the game and we can kick a game-winning field goal with young Wei Koo. It's a poorly
young ho.
That's a poorly constructed roster. Yeah, he pulled his calf, fucking twerking on the bennies.
He slipped and fell on him. Well, it was a coin toss for all of us. I think Green Bay at home, Lambeau against New Orleans. I'll take Victory Island here in a 1-point victory, but I mean, come on.
They were down 17 donut going into the 4th. Where did New Orleans go?
Well, they don't have that's another one. They don't have there's not much of an offense there.
Yeah.
Cars.
They get Kamara back this week though. So.
And I think honestly
okay.
Williams is concern.
Listen, Jamal Williams, for as much as I like the kid, and I've heard all offseason about how Detroit was going to letting him walk away. That guy was a product of a really good offensive line and a team that was willing to run the ball down your throat. Yeah. And some of the time they had Swift there. So it's just I never believed in this offense. The defense is great.
His hay was made near the goal line too. What do you have?
Yeah, no, I mean he barely broke 1,000 yards. I mean to have 314 touchdowns on just barely over 1,000 yards is kind of an anomaly.
Yeah, Carr going down was tough for them. They miss Kamara pretty badly. They can't balance that offense at all. They have no threat out of the backfield really. Jamal Williams, if you give him room, like you said, Mode, if you give him room, he can do something. But
he's a good complementary back. Like if you want to run him as your second guy that you run more than you would run a normal backup running back, that's fine. That's perfect for him. He's a good character guy. I'm to another point where I don't even know how good Kamara is anymore. I feel like we're still living in 3 years ago with Alvin Kamara, and I want to see it. I need to see it.
Yeah,
it's like Michael Thomas. We're still living in 4 years ago.
Coming off suspension too, right? Is Kamara going to be rusty out the gates? Is he going to be fresh? I don't know.
Well, to no one's surprise,
bro, this was a lock.
The former ball boy for the fucking Broncos just put 70 on.
-6.5. This was a lock for us last week. This covered by almost 10x.
Yeah,
that's a body bag, bro.
Yeah.
Bro, your backup running back had 4 scores. And your starting running back, who's 31 years old, had 4 scores.
Dude.
Technically, A-Chain 2 is their 3rd string back. He was only elevated to 2nd string because Selvon Ahmed was hurt.
Listen, he's flying off the fucking waiver wires tomorrow morning. First thing.
60 fantasy points, dude.
Bruh.
Yeah, it's out of control. So my wife was complaining. She's like, I played our Mostert. Who's that? And I'm telling her, I'm like, oh yeah, he killed it. I'm like, at least you weren't playing backup.
Yeah,
because he had 10 more points.
Yeah. Crazy. Just home run after home run after home run, man. Denver's defense clearly quit. I think that defense is probably tired of the nonsense with Russ. It's so bad to this point that probably the whole team has quit on him.
But now it's become Russ and Sean Payton.
Yeah.
Like Payton's having him and Russ have this weird dynamic that I'm sure nobody loves.
Right.
Because it's like this old coach and this diva QB and they're button heads and it's weird. And I think the whole thing is scrapped. You might as well just throw them in the fucking junk pile.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
How scary is Miami, though, honestly? How
Dude.
fucking scary is that offense?
Dude.
Scary enough that Tyreek Hill almost was in the back of my mind at like the third quarter mark in that game, and he had a huge game. And Waddle's hurt. I mean,
I had this weekly pick 'em, and I picked Tyreek and Mostert, and like it was a body bag early, and it was like cool. And I won last week too, so I'm back to back right here. I'm Drake with it. I'm fucking back to back. $40. Let's go. You know?
Good shit.
Hell
yeah, and
but it feels good.
What kind of speed do you have to have on your team that in the locker room everybody's talking about their 100th time in college? And by the way, Devin A-Chain ran a faster 100 in college than Tyreek Hill. We saw that on full display this weekend.
I didn't know that.
He had a faster 100 time in college than fucking Tyreek Hill.
We're the same species, Doug.
The two highest speeds of the week were Hill and Mostert. So, like, the two highest speeds of the week were guys on the same team. And I mean,
the thing that really impressed me about them from an offensive perspective was the gas tank. Like, they didn't stop.
No. Bill Belichick the shit out of them.
Bruh.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the other team had to have quit to get to 70. It's not even the record, though. That's what's crazy. Like,
well, they could have had the record.
They could have if they
could have kicked the field goal.
They took a bunch of knees and
nothing's guaranteed, but they
down on it. Yeah, for sure.
They had a chance.
Yep.
What's the record?
72. They were right there.
Game?
In one game. Washington scored it on the Giants. What's crazy about that is that's the highest. That's the highest scoring individual game, but it's also the highest scoring combined game because the Giants scored 40 in that game. 112 points were scored in one football game.
That shit is crazy.
It didn't go to overtime.
Fucking George Washington was there.
Yeah, probably. It was 1966, so probably.
No.
That's a wild record too. And I mean, and listen, the Giants, fuck it, they might give up more than that this year.
Jesus Christ, they might.
They're really bad.
That's a bad team.
Miami's
fucking scary, man.
I'm pretty sure my son just won at Fortnite or some shit upstairs because I can hear this fucking kid going ballistic.
Oh boy, got that victory royale.
I don't know what you did, big homie.
Well, listen, somehow Staley stayed alive.
Oh my god!
And he tried his damnedest to give this game away as the Chargers beat Minnesota at home, 28-24. And I mean, I feel like with a couple of minutes left in the game, I pretty much gave this up. You know, I was getting ready to just turn it off and be like, all right, he's gonna fucking blow it. And yeah. I hate it.
The Vikings had it at the 2, couldn't punch in, turned it over on downs.
Yeah,
and then
that's a tough turnover.
Staley decides after Minnesota's used all 3 of their timeouts, I'm just gonna go for it on my own 17. Ugh, I don't get it. They got lucky. They survived. This one hit my pocketbook pretty hard too because I had a parlay that every leg hit except for the over in this game. It was 54. And they finished at 52, and the Vikings couldn't fucking punch in from the 2, fucking assholes.
I don't think we could have paired together 2 more disappointing teams through 2 weeks.
Yeah, really.
And even after this close game, I'm still not any less disappointed, really, in either one.
The Chargers lost Mike Williams, too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's like there's the video that goes around on all these social media platforms lately of Creed, the band Creed. And it's the hello, my friend, we meet again. And this one I saw is the fucking picking up Josh Palmer on the waiver wire because it happens every goddamn year.
Every fucking year, man.
So I'm losing my mind earlier seeing that as I'm putting in a claim.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Listen, we need to stop all the hate on Nickelback and on Creed. I won't stand for it anymore.
Listen, I'm with you. I was just having that discussion with somebody who was
first
like,
concert I ever went to in my life, Nickelback. It was fucking fantastic.
I've been to a Nickelback concert too. They were good in concert.
Right.
A coworker of mine was like, "You hate Nickelback?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Good. If you did, you're lying." And I was like, "What about Creed?" And he was like, "Fuck Creed." And I'm like, "You're a liar."
No, you're lying.
You're a liar. Now who's lying?
Yeah.
Come on. Hello, my friend. We'll meet again.
Yeah.
Let's go, dude. I'm here for it. That just made my night. New England in a fucking real snoozer. Beating New York at home 15-10. Obviously, Victory Island here. It had to happen. Pats aren't there, and the Jets are not going to be there anytime soon with Zach Wilson. And this is just kind of reaffirming that.
Yeah, this was two of the better defenses in the league going head to head, and that's what the score reflected in the end. The Jets had a shot late. The Pats almost let this one get away. They probably got too conservative, but yeah, this was a defensive battle. Two good defenses, and Belichick wasn't going to let the offense make mistakes. They ran the ball a lot and just played defense.
Well, we further proving that we don't know anything about football. Buckle up for the next few. Jacksonville getting blown out at home by the Texans. And against my better judgment, I rode with Jacksonville because I've always viewed Houston as the underdog. I've always overrated them probably. And this was the one time I should have rode with them, and I didn't. Yeah. I'll take that L.
Yeah, I don't know what you do. Like, if you're Jacksonville, right, you start off the season, you have the Super Bowl champs, and then you have two teams who are supposed to win like a combined 7 games, and you can't get it done. Gary said it earlier. I think the Texans have their quarterback. C.J. Stroud has looked pretty good. He seems composed. Now, the Texans haven't really played a crazy schedule either, unless we're counting Jacksonville, which I don't know if we can at this point. Yeah, Jacksonville's a letdown. I'm just talking about the Chargers and the Vikings. We should throw Jacksonville into that flame too. It's just nothing's good. Lawrence doesn't look sharp. The receiving core doesn't look sharp. The run game, nothing looks sharp. I don't get it. This is a team that went out and they stole a playoff game last year, right? We just talked about Staley. But yeah, it's nothing's good. And on the flip side, the Texans are kind of getting a little bit of that Cards mojo. It's like, hey, maybe we might be able to win 6 games.
Yeah. We talked about it at the beginning of the season, right? Like, this was Jacksonville and everybody else. If Jacksonville's struggling, this is an incredibly gettable division. It might be a 7 or 8 win team that wins this division potentially. If Jacksonville continues to struggle like this. Now, I have in the back of my head, I've got some confidence that, like, I think Jacksonville's going to figure it out, right? Like, I expect them probably to still be the best team in this division just simply because of the talent that they've got on that team, right? They've got a good running back. They've got a good wide receiver. Calvin Ridley came back. They've got a couple of complementary pieces on offense. And there's Sunshine, right, who at times can look like one of the best guys in the league, and at times he looks terrible like he did against the Houston Texans this weekend. And defensively, they can rush the passer. All of those things should add up to a team that's head and shoulders better than the rest of the AFC South. But they haven't been. They snuck by the Colts in week 1 or week 2. No, week 1. Then they get beat up. Yeah, then they get beat up by the Chiefs in a low-scoring affair that you didn't expect. They got bullied, essentially, by the Chiefs. And then they lay this egg against the Texans. I still believe maybe they figure it out. But right now, it feels like maybe Jacksonville started to smell themselves a little bit, and they haven't been able to put it together. Dougie P sometimes gets a little too creative with some of these fourth downs that he's gone for and turned the ball over. This is a really gettable division. And if I'm Houston right now, I'm looking at an opportunity because they've got no incentive to lose this year. They've got all the incentive in the world to win because they don't have a first-round pick. Their first-round pick goes to Arizona this year. So for them, it's all about competing and figuring out what we got. And we've talked about it. I think they have their quarterback. I think they also have a couple of wide receivers that they can make plays with. Tank Dell's kind of a surprise, but Nico Collins has been a guy there that people probably don't know who he is because he played in Houston, but he's solid. They've got a decent running game. They've got a really good, sound, defensive-minded head coach who's going to be able to coach those guys up defensively, and that's probably what we saw this weekend. They really disrupted what Trevor Lawrence and that offense were trying to do. This could be a situation where Indy and Houston look at it and say, we've got young quarterbacks. If we can get them crunch time experience late in the game, or late in the season, I mean, and they're playing meaningful games in December and January and potentially even hosting a playoff game if they win their division, you're talking about invaluable reps for that young squad without having to really, press the issue. This is a division that right now it feels like it's just flip a fucking coin and you might end up with the right pick.
Yeah, and back to the Jags, it doesn't get any prettier because they essentially have the next 3 games are the first 3 games all over again. Yeah. In a nutshell, they have Buffalo, Atlanta, and Indy. So it's kind of the same as the first 3 games. And then they run the defensive fucking gauntlet of the Saints, Steelers, and 49ers. So
yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, for sure. You don't want to figure it out quickly.
And I mean, back-to-back L's here. And it only makes sense that we highlight our downfalls. And it's a tough go, 22-19. And this is, I don't know, man.
It's unfair. It's 2 teams who aren't supposed to be winning games.
Yeah.
Stop. Just cut it out.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's bad football.
I think we're seeing a situation in Baltimore, though. Is Lamar Jackson not that guy anymore? Like, is he not that dude anymore? Were the Ravens justified in not wanting to pay him the money that he was asking for? I think we're starting to see that because he's not able to escape the way he used to. I think the foot and the leg injuries that he's dealt with, the nagging injuries, maybe it's starting to catch up to him. I think they're trying to make him stay in the pocket more, which is not where he's comfortable. And to me, if he's not out there making plays for you, who is? They don't have a running back that's going to be an electrifying run. Even with the injury that they suffered to Dobbins at the beginning of the season, he's not an electric back. He's a guy who's going to get you 4 yards in a cloud of dust, and he's going to be efficient. He's not an electric guy. Zay Flowers was supposed to be this separation creator, best route runner in the draft. He hasn't really shown that. OBJ is washed. I'm just going to be blunt about it. OBJ is washed. Probably still doesn't have an ACL, I guess, if you listen to Sean McVay. And they have not been able to figure out how to get Mark Andrews going. One of the 2 to 3 best weapons at the tight end position. They have not been able to get him going. It's going to be a long season if they are relying on that defense, which is not, it's not the Steelers, it's not the Niners, it's not the 2000s Ravens. If they're relying on that defense to win them games, it's going to be a long season because they're not scoring points defensively with the roster they've got. They're going to be tough. They're going to be hard to score on, but they don't have Ed Reed back there at free safety.
Nobody thought it was a good idea to sink that money into Odell Beckham Jr. Like that was like one of the more reckless things I've seen. So I can't get beside it. I do have hope for Zay Flowers. I like Zay Flowers. I think he can be a weapon. I think, him and Andrews can anchor this passing game a little bit, but you hit it on the head. Lamar in the pocket. We're trying to make, we're trying to make a lion a fucking grass eater here. Like this dude doesn't want berries. He wants, like, let Lamar do what Lamar has to do. And if he can't do that, then well, you shouldn't have fucking paid him.
Yep.
If you didn't have the confidence in his skill set and you want to make him something else, you shouldn't have given him the money.
Yep. Minshew mania, though, I do want to mention that Gardner Minshew is a guy who I've been waiting for some team to just say, okay, we're going to bring you in and we're going to give you all weapons and let you play, right? Because I love to watch him play. He's a gunslinger. I think he's a guy that can play at this level. Big win for him. A good feather in his cap. Anthony Richardson being nicked up with the concussion. That's the risk you run with those guys who like to run with that style. Anthony Richardson is going to be like Cam Newton, right? It's going to be feast, it's going to be famine, and it's probably going to fall off really quickly when he becomes punch drunk like Cam got late. Great 8 years, and then it fell off very quickly because you just get beat up. I don't care how big you are. There's bigger guys in the NFL, so he's got to learn to protect himself. That concussion he took was a reckless concussion to take. That hit, he shouldn't have taken a hit like that at the goal line, but he'll learn, right? He's going to have to learn. At this level, you're not going to bowl guys over like you were at Florida.
Well, yeah, you're a man amongst boys, and then you become, just another dude, and actually it's probably worse than that. But they've got the Rams, Titans, Jags, so they have some. Listen, and they're not supposed to have 2 wins right now. So the Colts on the right track. Richardson, maybe a short shelf life, but Cam Newton won an MVP, so
went to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Onward and upward. Seattle taking a win, 37-27 at home against the Panthers. Panthers are still kind of figuring things out too.
Yeah, they're in a rebuild. Bryce Young didn't play, but that's their focus this year. Figuring out what they got with Bryce Young and how to build around him. Seattle, this is probably who Seattle is. They're better than these teams. They're not as good as the big teams, right? We've seen that play out the first 3 weeks of the season with Seattle. They're better than they're better than 10 teams in the league. They're competitive with probably 10 teams in the league, and they're worse than 10 teams in the league, right? And then obviously my math is terrible because there's 32 teams.
Yeah, I didn't love Seattle coming in. I think the last couple of weeks they've looked – they look different than I thought they'd look. Like, I thought that they would be able to – I thought Geno was going to take a bit of a – the comeback to reality thing. But I thought the defense was going to be good. And the defense hasn't looked good.
It's been the opposite, yeah.
Yeah, defense is giving up points. Geno's just kind of like, The offensive line has looked really good despite having injuries to the tackles. So – there's definitely some things there for Seattle. I've been doing it so far, but they've got the Giants, Bengals, Cardinals, so they may continue to make a little noise here the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Where do you place Geno Smith in relation to Jameis Winston?
You ever seen the Spider-Man meme? Where's No, he's better. He's better than Jameis Winston. I don't know. Actually, is he? I don't know if he is.
Right.
It's weird. I think it's a good question.
Maybe in the same tier.
Because my initial thought is he reminds me of Jameis Winston, but he's a little more poised in the pocket, and he's definitely not as much of a he doesn't have the cannon. Like Jameis can definitely throw further than he can.
Yeah.
So I think he's less feast, less famine.
Yeah.
Right? So he's
a little more balanced.
He's a bit more.
Yeah, for sure. Just overall poise in general. Geno's a little more calculated.
Yeah, Thielen's been a nice surprise down there in Carolina. He and Bryce Young have chemistry, and that's a big deal if they can keep Bryce Young healthy.
Yeah, and call it a second win for Thielen too. It'd be good for him to catch a good win with a good quarterback.
Yeah.
Has he done much? I mean, I know he had the big week this week. I don't really.
I think this is his first big week.
I didn't know what he did besides.
He's been consistent. He's been kind of Bryce Young's security blanket. The first 2 weeks he was.
I know he was bad week 1. I didn't know what he did week 2.
Dalton fought him a lot this week.
Oh yeah. So he had 7 catches for 54 yards in week 2. I just knew week 1 he was bad, and the only reason I knew that is because I had him in a weekly, and he sucked. Yeah, he wasn't good.
Hate to see it.
Yeah, well, it's my life.
I definitely feel you there. To no one's surprise, Kansas City Arrowhead looks good. Great crowd. Lots of buzz around the crowd at this game in particular. But yeah,
The Bears are bad. They're worse than I thought they were going to be, and I thought they were going to be pretty bad. And
they're so bad.
We're starting to see, with the basketball reference here, Justin Fields is getting the Rajon Rondo treatment, where they know what he's going to do. They know there's one thing he can do, and they don't respect the things he can't do. So he's getting no fucking look at doing what he wants to do. That team's miserable.
Yeah, speaking of buzz, too, he got knocked the fuck out, and then they brought him back into the game.
That was real Tua-esque.
That dude had to be fucking buzzing.
Yeah, very Tua-esque.
Crazy.
Hate team.
I'm worried that there's no redeeming Fields at this point. He's probably a ruined product. And speaking of redeeming, the Bears have zero redeeming characteristics.
I don't know about that. I mean, goddamn.
There's nothing on that team that you look at and say,
not Fields. Like, I don't think Fields is fucking expired.
You don't think so?
No, dude. I think if he stays at the Bears, his shelf life is nothing, right? But I'm saying, like, if he, for whatever reason, ends up in another town, I think he could succeed. I think he's perfectly capable of being a good quarterback. But you're right.
We're going to get to see that.
He's real fucking Billy Bob with it right now, Varsity Blues. I mean, this man is limited. Like, he's single digits on them concussions before he's going to be fucking Audi 5000.
Yeah, you're going to get to see that though, because he's gonna the Bears are going to be bad enough this year that they're drafting a quarterback. I mean, I can almost
Caleb Williams, and they're going to move.
I can almost write that down and just come back to it.
Yeah.
But, so you might get to see Fields somewhere else, but who knows?
Maybe.
I almost made that an overreaction. Just an observation about Justin. It's time to to draft another quarterback in Chicago, and then I started to think about it more, and I was like, that's not an overreaction. Okay, fair enough. And then I moved on from it, because you're right. I mean, it's definitely time, but I think the shelf life for Justin in Chicago is definitely up, but I feel like he's still going to be. He could be valuable elsewhere. Okay. Well, you fucking win some, and then other times you lose, by 22 points to the fucking Cardinals. Felt like 22 anyways. My math is off. Whatever, dude. Like, I don't remember if it was after week 1's win or week 2's win, but I think the PSA that I put out to the Cowboys fans and showing them the cycle where we were at, right? So this should be a nice kind of check for Cowboys fans. They're like, hey, we're still not really good. We're okay. We're better than okay. We have one of the best defenses in the NFL. You have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. You have a couple of the best receivers, in the game. You don't have one of the best quarterbacks or one of the best coaches, and we're learning now in this new style of offense without Zeke that we don't really have like a top-notch running back at this point. So there's got to be a reality check for Cowboys fans. So I hope that this was it. I hope it's like hey, listen, we're still building, but I got asked today actually, is it time to replace Dak? And my response was, excuse me, I'm taking a call from 2021. Fuck yes, it's time to replace Dak, because Dak's shelf life with the Cowboys should have expired when Zeke started going downhill. And that's it, So we're talking 2-3 years ago is when this stuff should have kind of started to go run its route, and we should have been looking to draft a quarterback and so on and so, or the Trey Lance acquisition, we start moving that and making that happen, because it's time. And so we're not going to get there with Dak. We were never going to get there with Dak, and I hope that people are starting to see that.
That's just it though, too, is like there's a good opportunity coming up with this draft to be able to get a quarterback. And I think Dak's still too good to just say, fuck it.
Yeah.
But to bring in somebody to, get in the system, to learn, to, become your future quarterback, it's just so hard. Like Dak's one of those guys that, he can go out there and have a really good game. And you have a good enough team, supporting cast. It's like, we can weather this storm. And then he goes out there and he looks like shit. And it's like,
he's fucking great in garbage time, man. His yards are fantastic.
Yards are fantastic.
Yards and touchdowns in garbage time. I mean, man's all time. First ballot Hall of Fame in fucking garbage time points.
If only you could play the Giants every week.
You know what I'm saying? If you can go put 40 up on them every week, and then their defense just like doesn't board the plane, you're good. But like any level of listen, the Cards defense is like okay. I don't think that there's some fucking powerhouse. I don't think that I really don't. I don't place them in a top 5. Do you?
No.
God, you place them in the top 10.
No.
Right.
The Arizona Cardinals?
We lost Trayvon Diggs, so there's that. But I mean, that's not a good enough excuse. Even without him, that fucking defense is incredible. There's really no excuse for anything that happens last weekend.
I think the biggest thing
I'm looking at the coaches, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing to take away from this game, it's a combination, right? Arizona was not afraid to run the ball straight at the Cowboys defense, and that is the Cowboys defense weakness, right? Micah Parsons can run you down anywhere you're on the field. DeMarcus Lawrence is a guy that wants to get after the quarterback. They've gone out and tried to get some meat in the interior of that defensive line, and it seemed like through 2 weeks when they were able to create a lot of turnovers, it seemed like it was working, but that's partially a product of the fact that they were up fucking 40 points on the Giants and 20 some on the Jets at half, right? So the combination of those two things is, one, you're wearing the defense down and controlling the clock, controlling the line of scrimmage, but two, Cardinals didn't turn the ball over this weekend.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys offense, especially with Dak, they thrive on those quick change plays. A lot of Dak's like deep ball success comes after a turnover, right? It's a turnover and they run a quick change kind of play action pass and try to get the deep ball. When you're not getting when you're not getting those turnovers, you're not getting the short fields. It's in the NFL, those two things are incredibly valuable for a reason to every single team. But with the Cowboys especially, the defense leads the way. And the fact that they were getting bullied this weekend, I think, had a cascading effect on the offense. Dak's not a guy, in my opinion, that's going to overcome those things.
Right, 100%. But let's look at how garbage time numbers can affect your perspective of a game. So I'm not going to tell you the scores of these two teams, but one of these teams got 230 yards passing, where the other one had 178. They also had more first downs. They had a better third down efficiency. They ran 20 more plays. They had 5 more penalties. They threw an interception and possessed the ball for 10 minutes more in the game. I mean, just looking at those stats, it's like you had control for a majority of that game. You were advantageous in your movements for a majority of the game, except for when it counted.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. That team still fucking lost by 12.
Busting out the Gary words.
Hate it. Hate myself for using that word.
Nope. I like it. I'm on board. That's the Cardinals though too. I think to their credit, listen, they were the win 3 games team this year. They were at the bottom tier of that Colts, the Texans pile up thing. I mean, they were coming out the fucking red-haired stepchild, and now we've got they're pretty close to being 3-0. I mean, all against the storied NFC East, but they're there. I mean, they came damn close week 1 against Gary's Commanders. They should have beaten the Giants week 2. It took 1,000. The third and fourth quarter were the only quarters the Giants scored in that game, and then now this dismantling of the Cowboys a bit. Yeah, they're just, again, I don't expect them to do much with this. However, I think maybe there's something to say about a team. They still have a team filled with pros with pride. So I think, whenever that's in play, get it done. Maybe they're like, fuck this. Everybody's saying we suck. Go out there with Charlie Villanueva.
For sure. And I think they're going to be I think that they're going to be super hyped up after this game, and they're going to go and they're going to fly out to the Bay Area and they're going to face the 49ers and get fucking blown out. I think that's what's going to happen.
I like the build up there.
Because that's where that team is.
That one.
They're going to pull up and get fucking absolutely blown out.
I looked ahead to see who they were playing, so I wondered where you were fucking going with that, and I approve.
Yeah, they have. They've been ahead in
it's
every
not always
game.
the message, it's the delivery.
It is.
So yeah. And then they got the Bengals after that. So it's not going to get fucking easier for them. So anyways, I've said enough. We rode with Pittsburgh. We were victorious with Pittsburgh. Vegas is, the fuck is going on in Vegas? I mean, look, the defense showed up and showed out for Pittsburgh, and there's,
Josh McDaniels.
Dude, should have never left New England.
3 teams have hired him as their fucking head coach for whatever reason.
And
he never showed up in Indianapolis, which probably was better off for him anyway, but
yeah,
they went miserably in Denver, and it's going miserably in Vegas.
It's Gary Steelers. They replaced the Raiders replace a so-so quarterback with a so-so quarterback, and the McDaniels thing aside, I don't see it for this team. Josh Jacobs had a pretty strong year last year, and he's not doing the same thing this year. The Steelers got a really, really good defense. Maybe the best defense. Probably not.
Yeah.
They're probably more like the 4th or 5th best defense, 3rd maybe. So if they get support from the offense, Kenny Pickett threw a couple of touchdowns. Najee Harris is still Najee Harris. I've never seen. I can't. Well, I can't say I've never seen. I can't remember the last time I saw the hype around a running back that just fell this flat. It's got to be like Trent Richardson or something like that.
I'll tell you this. So, from an advanced metrics perspective, he's among 32 starting running backs. He's number 32 in terms of yards blocked for. He's not Barry Sanders, so he's not going to be able to fix that. But he's also in the top 5 in yards over expected gain on carries. Yet he still averages like fucking 3.5 yards a carry because he's getting hit in the backfield on almost every carry. It's not fair to him. He's not a guy that is going to make you miss in the backfield and then break it off, right? Like a Barry Sanders type, or run through you like a Adrian Peterson used to be able to when he was able to hit the hole. But if they could just figure out how to play on the other side of the line of scrimmage, I think Najee Harris could make a difference for that offense. But it's not been good, right? He went in the first round, and he was supposed to be the next big thing out of Alabama, and it's just not worked out in Pittsburgh. They've got one of the worst offensive lines in football. I thought that all the capital that they expended on that offensive line was going to be better. It's not. It's fucking atrocious. He's being set up for failure, and it's looking really bad on him. It's terrible. It's terrible. I'm not trying to stand here and say like, oh, Najee Harris is like better than you think he is. He's not, but he is, from a metrics perspective, doing more with less. But it still looks like shit because of how much his less is.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know all that.
Josh Jacobs had less yardage than that.
Yeah.
I didn't know all the crazy advanced stats shit. We fucking stumped the Schwab over here, the Schwab, whatever the fuck. Like, what are you doing? Why do you know that?
Because I have him on my fantasy team. I'm trying to figure out if he's ever going to get better.
I think the problem is going to be, though, is like after this season, like a quarter of his career is already over. So,
yeah.
Yeah, he had 360 carries last year or something like that.
Well, and let's talk about someone further in their career. I mean, look at Devontae Adams. He still had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
You know,
He's a
and
monster. It doesn't matter who's throwing the ball. He's a monster.
Exactly. And he's just withering away with a team that's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah. I saw a rumor that it's possible, I guess, that he may end up back in Green Bay at some point, but I don't know. We'll see.
We need him in Texas.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's defense is wild.
They're legit. They're definitely legit.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure.
No, absolutely.
All right. So, Philly, they show up to Tampa Bay. They put a beat down on Tampa Bay at home. Philly's starting to look okay. Is Tampa Bay starting?
Are they?
It is. Well, more importantly, is Tampa Bay looking like an anomaly? Is what we've seen the last couple weeks.
Baker Mayfield looks
okay,
like a capable NFL quarterback on a team that's not going to win many games. That's what he's always looked like, though, right? I think Philly's defense is fucking scary.
Mm-hmm.
That front, that line, the linebacking core, the shit you can stack the box with, and then just be comfortable because you have guys like Darius Slay in the secondary. They're tough. That might be my most menacing defense. That just because I feel like they're so well rounded. And the offense hasn't looked that good, but fuck, if they get it going, I mean, DeAndre Swift has looked like a beast. They still got the army tank formation where they just fucking push their huge quarterback forward, and it works every goddamn time. And it's disgusting to watch, but I would do it every goddamn time too if it were me.
They should. It's automatic, but it's also fucking the dumbest play in football.
You know what it is? What it is like. I don't love to watch it, and I know it's coming, but like we would all do the same thing.
Absolutely.
You have Brown, you have Smith, Goddard, like that team. When they get it going, it's not even if. When that offense really gets clicking, like that's it.
That's my thing right now. Is Jalen Hurts doesn't look like the boogeyman that he was last year.
2 interceptions,
like
dude.
The same guy. Yeah, he's careless with the foot. He had a ball. It could have maybe changed the momentum of the game. I don't know, but the touchdown catch that now that the name of the receiver is eluding me, but Hurts got hit on the throw when the ball floated, and the defensive back missed a pick by like 2 inches. If that ball doesn't float on him, if he's not hit and that ball floats, that might be a pick in the red zone, might be a game changer. He looks sloppy with the football. Even running with the football, he doesn't look scary like he was last year. When he tucked the ball last year, you were like, oh, God, especially if you're an opponent. You're like, oh, God, what's he going to fucking do now? It's not like that yet this year. Andy, when might be the operative word, right? But right now as it stands, they are not the scary Eagles of 2022. And I'm curious to watch how this plays out, because the biggest thing I've noticed is the offensive line is getting old. And Father Time is undefeated. They are not doing as well in pass pro as they have in the past, and Hurts is under pressure a lot more, under fire a lot more. Swift has been able to get his, but it's in a lot of those kind of zone read and RPO type plays where if the defense gives the right look, Swift is, if he's healthy, that dude's a home run threat.
Well, he's not going to be healthy if they keep running him like that.
Right.
I can tell you from experience.
Right. But that's been really their biggest asset this year, is a guy who you can't rely on to play 17 games. So I don't know, man. I worry about this offensive line and whether it's going to hold up. They look old. They look a step slow from what they've been in the past. We'll see. Jalen Hurts is not the boogeyman this year, though, so far.
I mean, it's, and there is something to be said about how great of a season he had last year, and then the film is there and everybody's, benefiting from that, the opposition.
Yep.
And as a Lions fan, I've had 100 people text me. I hope some of you are watching this so I can answer it at one thing. We knew DeAndre Swift was good. There was no delusions. He's just not available.
Right.
You'll know that in like 3 weeks. He just great player, probably an elite running back when he's healthy. He just isn't healthy. Philly, fortunately for them, they do have the Commanders, the Rams, and the Jets. So I mean, this team realistically could be a cool 6-0
and still trying to figure it out, right? How many teams in the league would want to be 6-0 and trying to figure it out, right?
Oh man,
right. But listen, this is what we did last year, though. There was a point last year where we were like, and I remember being worried myself and having like a Facebook status like, I don't know how prepared Philly's going to be for the playoffs because they had that easy ass schedule. Yeah. And it's like I almost said something yesterday, and I'm like, I'm fucking repeating myself. It was going to be a different dig because it wasn't the ease of the schedule this time. It was just like maybe I should just shut the fuck up because they figured it out last time. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, only one game left in the regular and week 3 to review, and that's all of us taking an L here, riding with the Rams, and didn't not a lot of faith in Cincinnati, and Bengals end up pulling off a W.
I'm gonna make an excuse. Burrow was gonna play. I'm gonna make an excuse. I didn't think Burrow was gonna play.
Yeah. I was also corrected and told. In fact, I was explicitly told Burrow was not going to play from the panel.
I didn't think he was going to, man.
So, I'm automatically exonerated here. That L does not carry on the record.
You are. It took until fucking 5 minutes and he's still not right. We watched him during the game struggling. And my dad asked this earlier. I wanted to bring it back up because now we're talking about the Cincinnati game. I wonder if he's ever going to be 100% this season because he took 4 weeks off from the preseason to week 1 and wasn't right. He's babied it for 2 weeks. They had the extra day after week 2 to Monday night. I just thought that they would sit him. If they were 1-1, I fully believe Burrow doesn't play Monday night. I think he played because they were 0-2 and they couldn't fall to 0-3. It was that important to them not fall to 0-3. But I still watched throughout that game. He's flat-footed. They were pointing it out all night. He couldn't push off that leg. He scrambled maybe 2-3 times, and each time he scrambled, you could see him trying to stretch it, work the ankle, work the calf as he was going back to the huddle. If he never gets to 100%, this Cincinnati team, I mean, I know it's stating the obvious here, but the Cincinnati team isn't going very far if he never gets to 100%.
Right, and he was sacked twice, and it felt like he was sacked a lot more times than that because there were so many close calls.
Just the pressure.
Yep. Yeah, he can't get away is the problem. He's what Gary's saying. There was no plant there. He can't go. And I agree that he doesn't play if they're not 0-2. The only thing on offense that really looked good was Jamar Chase, and that's because he's Jamar Chase. I mean, I think Joe Mixon looked okay. Everything else in the pass game looked bad. He and T. Higgins, you're welcome, Gary.
He had the dropsies. Holy shit. Like, I appreciate it. I held on.
Everything was bad. It was all bad. The timing was weird every time. Like, Higgins dropped a bunch of balls, but like it's like the chemistry, like they were brand new duo.
It's heavy.
Yeah, just not good in Cincy. And honestly, I mean, the Rams should have won the game. Their refusal to run the fucking football,
dude.
I was bitching about it all night, but I want to bring it up again. Like, what was Sean McVay doing? Was that simply
It's not just McVay, though, too. It's McVay and it's Stafford because they were both calling. I mean, you called it out. Stafford calling off run plays.
He checked into pass plays with light boxes several times, at least 5 times in the first half because I started counting them. Like, because I, again, selfishly in fantasy, I have Kyron Williams in your other league, not the Dynasty League. And I needed him to get some fucking points. Like, turn around, put the ball in his fucking belly. It's the 31st ranked run defense coming into the game. Run the ball, man.
And he didn't look bad when he was running the ball. I think he averaged like 3.7 or 8 per carry or something. He had with 10 carries for like it was 46 or 38, whatever it was. But Jesus Christ, just give him the ball.
Yeah, Kyron Williams, 10 carries, 38 yards. Joe Mixon, 19 carries, 65 yards.
It's
65
crazy.
of the team's 67 yards were from Joe
When
Mixon.
when Jamar Chase is going like he was, it opens up a lot, and Joe Mixon can take advantage of you because he's that talented as a runner.
It just doesn't make sense to me. Like if you have a quarterback nursing an injury, why aren't you running the ball more? You have Joe Mixon, one of the best running backs in the NFL. Like you gotta.
19 carries is a decent amount. I think that they were behind a lot of the game too, and they were trying to figure it out. Jamar Chase was hot. It's hard not to put the ball in that guy's hands when he's fucking going like that. Especially with how much he struggled the first 2 weeks. I think you really want to get him going because he's that vital. But
maybe he had some extra rust he needed to shake off from the offseason. So.
That was a weird game for both offenses, and I thought both defenses took advantage of some of the weird things that both offenses were doing.
For sure. All right, well, that wraps our review, and now we'll get to the most important part of our show. As a veteran-owned podcast, we dedicate an episode every week to a fallen service member in our Folds of Honor sponsored segment called our Salute to Service. This episode is going to be dedicated to Army Private First Class Evan W. O'Neill. Passed away September 29, 2003, serving during Operation Enduring Freedom. He was 19 years old, from Haverhill, Massachusetts, assigned to 1st Battalion, 87th Infantry Regiment, 10th Mountain Division out of Fort Drum, New York. He was killed as a result of enemy fire in Afghanistan. Army Private First Class Evan W. O'Neill. We have the watch. Senior, always a pleasure. Altas, leader. Good episode so far, boys. Let's get on to the preview. All right, so, of course Andy's going to ride with hometown, and I fucks with it. He is doubling down with the idea that Green Bay's not as good as people think they're going to be. And with that, we have a lock alert. This has got to be one of the locks.
Yeah, I'm going with it. Look, it's two things. One, defensively, Green Bay is very, very strong, and I think that they're going to be able to counter a lot of what Detroit does well. It's the defensive backfield is very strong for Green Bay, and they can stuff the middle, stuff some of that run game. And then I know Montgomery's status is maybe a little up in the air, and I don't think Detroit yet has figured out how to use Jahmyr Gibbs properly. I think once they figure out how to use him properly, he's going to be a fucking monster of a weapon for them, but it hasn't happened yet. But on the offensive side of the ball, Green Bay is getting a little healthier. They are expecting Christian Watson and Aaron Jones to play. Christian Watson is whatever he is. He's a deep threat if you can get him the ball. But Aaron Jones being healthy makes a big difference for them. I think they're going to be able to control the line of scrimmage on offense. They're going to be able to control the tempo, control the clock, and they're home. This is a 1.5 point spread. I'm actually going to put my lock on the money line for Green Bay. This is my lock for Green Bay to win this game. Rivalry game, going to be a knockdown, drag out. Obviously, this is a heated contest, but being at home is one of the biggest factors for me, but having Aaron Jones back, I think, is probably the biggest factor in why I made this my lock for this week.
Fair enough.
Yeah, he's going to get tore up.
Yeah, let's go, dude.
Detroit doesn't give up the run, so I expect Detroit to continue to be hard on the run. That's where they've been good. It's the pass that they haven't been good defensively. So we saw a lot of that, kind of be relieved this last week against Atlanta. We'll see. I still don't trust Jordan Love. I think that Green Bay's narrowly escaped with a pretty cupcake schedule. I don't believe it. I like the win in Lambeau. And that's where I'm landing. I think Jahmyr Gibbs, I agree. I I do think that the Lions have gotten the most out of their rookie draft picks this year. Brian Branch has been amazing.
Yeah.
Actually, he just put up a historic line this week. Not for a rookie either, for like a defensive back. So 10 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 2 pass deflections. Campbell had a sack. Gibbs was decent. I think he had 80 yards. Sam Laporta has put up, 5+ catches each game, 80 yards of the touchdown last week. I think they're clicking, man. I do. I think the Seattle thing was kind of a wake-up call because they expected to win that game. First home game. Everything was there. When we picked these earlier, the line was even. It moved to 1.5 afterwards. So I like the line, I think, but I think it'll be a good game. I do. All jokes aside, I would love this. I would love to just go to Lambeau and watch Detroit win by 3 scores, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's a 7-point game. It's within 7 points. I think I have Detroit like a 24-21, 24-20. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, I think it's a field goal game. I have it going the other way. So I agree. It's going to be a fun game. It's Thursday night too, right? Sometimes these Thursday night games can be sloppy and goofy. So.
Hate it.
Yeah. I think you're probably right. Awesome. Right behind Kelsey. I think that he's certainly got that upside that he could be. He's probably neck and neck with guys like Hawkinson and Andrews. I expect to finally figure it out, and Kittle.
Hopefully, yeah.
They're starting to use Kittle a little better there in San Fran than they have the last 2 years. But yeah, I can't disagree with anything you said, Andy. I look at what Aaron Jones can do in terms of being able to press the edge and get away from the strength. The strength of the Lions' defensive front is those 2 fucking ham hocks in the middle of the defensive front. What Aaron Jones can do differently than guys like A.J. Dillon, right, is he can press the edge. He's also really good in the passing game as well. So I think that, for me, Aaron Jones being back is a big, big deal for that Packers offense. Last time we saw him on the field, he went for like $120 and a couple of scores. So he had a big day. Tore his hamstring up on one of those scores, but he's back.
Got me a FanDuel championship winning week.
He really did.
Go.
First week, yeah.
Let's go.
Yep.
All right, on to the Sunday night roster. I'm on the island with Atlanta, and I'm kind of surprised by that. I mean, are we giving home field advantage here? I mean, what are your thoughts? Yeah,
Jacksonville's got to get it together, right?
Jacksonville's got to get it. Yeah, okay, that's fair. I mean, I think Atlanta's a fucking mess, but signs of life every now and then.
Yeah,
Jacksonville should be better.
Should be. They got to figure out eventually. I still think Atlanta's the worst roster in football.
I've heard you say the same about the Texans, which is why I keep bringing that up. So it's tough.
I never said the Texans had the worst roster in football.
Yeah, you have. Well, prior to CJ Stroud, I guess. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And
week 1, week 2, though, I think I remember you saying it was probably week 1. It was like they may have the worst roster.
They may, or they've got one of the worst. Yeah, but CJ can fucking play. So
yeah,
they got that position figured out. Texans are on their way up.
And we shall see. I'm riding the Miami train, and in Buffalo too. Senior, please don't be mad at me. Listen, you put up 70 in a game, and granted, your opponent was nothing, but yikes. I don't know, man. I've got a lot more. I was riding high on the idea that Miami was going to be good this year, and I know that's already paying dividends, and so. My DraftKings weeklies are surely thankful for the contributions of the Miami Dolphins. So I'm riding with them this week.
Yeah, I feel like Buffalo's corrected. Namely, Josh Allen has corrected what went on in week 1. The disaster.
Bills minus 2.5.
Yeah, they've been good the last 2 weeks. And, my thing probably boils down to me thinking that Miami and Buffalo will split. And we're in Buffalo, so –
yeah,
that's where I'm picking them. So yeah, I mean it's kind of
home game.
It's gotten a little more interesting after them scoring 70 points. So I was really more on the fence with this today than I probably would have been, picking at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I mean, look, Miami is, yeah. My mom's a Dolphins fan. She used to love Dan Marino. So, yeah, Andy, you said it right. Split probably this season, right? Home and home. Fortunately for Miami, if they're going to get the win in Buffalo, they're playing them at the right time. They're not playing in Buffalo in fucking December. But also fortunately for Buffalo, they're not playing in Miami in fucking September.
Yeah, no kidding.
I look at Buffalo's defense.
It might be 12 degrees on Sunday, bro. I don't know. Let me look.
Yeah, that's true. You never know what fucking upstate. But Buffalo's defense, I think, has a much more familiarity too. I think Buffalo does a better job of disguising coverage than the Broncos defense, and the Bills defense hasn't quit on their quarterback yet. So
yeah.
I just think that it's gonna be a close game. It's gonna be one of those, classic fucking Bills Dolphins games. We're probably gonna see a lot of points. It'll probably be, if the over-under's in the high 50s, you're probably going to take the over because I think it's going to get in the 60s, 34, 31, something along those lines. Should be a fun game. Both offenses have a lot of firepower.
Nice.
And
tried and true.
Yeah.
We got entire bars having fucking parties for this game. So,
yeah.
I mean.
I love that.
That is what it is. I mean, though there was one that had one last week too, and that didn't end up being
that ended early.
It ended early, he said.
Took a lot of steam out of the party.
Yeah, no kidding. Minnesota on the road to Carolina. I think just, I don't think this is a coin flip, honestly. I think this is just much more of a Minnesota is a better put together team than Carolina is at this point.
They fucking should be.
You can't
they
trust
should
Minnesota, but
you can't trust them, sure. Exactly. But
yeah.
Carolina's not good.
When Carolina wins, I'm not even surprised.
Yeah.
Minnesota's
got to salvage their season, and it has to start against a bad team like Carolina.
Yeah.
It's a team that they probably still think internally that they're good enough, and they probably are in terms of pure talent, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Still good enough to compete, but if you go and struggle with Carolina, it might be time to fold up shop.
Right. Onward, Denver on the road to Chicago. All of us riding with Broncos country. Listen, Chicago's bad football.
Listen, I heard the funniest thing uttered earlier today. Imagine being the fan of a team that is an underdog at home against a team that just lost by 50 and gave up 70. That's the story of the Chicago Bears right now. And by the way, in that group chat, there's a Bears fan who was just like, I don't have to imagine.
I'm second guessing a little bit. I have been all like since
I waffled on this one.
I don't even know. Like if the Bears hadn't been so miserable, it would have been probably an easy. Like
I'm not even no faith.
If you give me the Colts, the Texans, the Falcons, or the Cardinals right now, I'm picking one of those four teams. I really am.
Yeah.
The fucking Bears are that bad.
That bad. And I even waffled on this. That's how bad the Broncos are.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Baltimore on the road to Cleveland. And so Browns -2 favorites at home. Listen, that's, I feel like this was kind of a coin flip for me. I'm still not 100% sold on Cleveland. I mean, they just, in a gruesome fashion, lost their running back. It's, I don't know. I don't know what that does to the game for them. And, I still don't have any secure faith in Cleveland either. So this was definitely a coin toss for me.
Well, they lose their running back. They bring in a pretty good kicker.
Yeah.
And they bring back a pretty good kicker. So I think that this team can do some things still defensively. We talked about Lamar Jackson. You guys, my kicker joke just went, or else it wasn't that good. I don't know. Kareem
over my
Hunt's
head.
back.
I'll admit it.
So,
Yeah.
So I mean, I still think that Cleveland right now is a better team until Baltimore proves different.
Yeah, they lost Nick Chubb, but for those that don't watch a lot of college football, like Jerome Ford can play, and we saw that this past week. He had a solid week. He's a guy who's a dual threat guy, a little better pass catcher than Nick Chubb, not as good a pure runner as Nick Chubb. Kareem Hunt, they worked a little bit in. I think he's familiar with the offense, but he's going to be a good complementary piece. My pick here, going with Cleveland, was much more about Baltimore, though, to be honest. I think that they're a mess right now. I don't trust the offense. I don't trust Lamar. I don't trust that they know what they want to do on offense. New coordinator, so I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. They're still trying to figure out the system. But my pick right here really boiled down to the fact that, like, Cleveland could score 9 in this game, and I think they win, right? That's how, one, good I think Cleveland's defense is. Two, how discombobulated right now that I think Baltimore's offense is. I do think that if Cleveland sniffs double digits, they win this game.
I think if they score 9, they're getting beat. But I don't think you're going to score 9.
No, I don't think so either, but I was just making my point.
We're going to see a fucking 6-3 game.
Might.
Not even, just straight field goals. All right. Pittsburgh on the road in H-Town. We're riding with Pittsburgh, and, the train's full now. This used to just be Gary, and we all took turns shitting on Gary, but we're all on the train. Houston is not the worst roster in football. They found a quarterback, but that's, that Pittsburgh defense is going to put a fucking hurting on that offense.
Yeah. No rookie wants to play this fucking defense.
Right, and they're a fucking cast of young guys on that offensive side of the ball. There's they're too green. I can't do it. Yeah, I wanted to. There was part of me for a second that I was like, man, the Texans. I tried to fucking talk myself into it, but no.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta let that fucking bloodbath happen. That builds character, They'll remember this Sunday.
Pickett looked like he started to figure it out a little bit this past Sunday. I think that offense, him and Pickens have something going that they're gonna be okay. And a name probably nobody knows, Calvin Austin III, is a guy that can get over the top. So he's a bit of a threat there, but this defense is going to fucking terrorize that Houston offense.
100%.
It's not fair. It's not fair.
Definitely.
It's not fair for a rookie to have to face fucking that defense with all those playmakers at every level.
Rams on the road in Indianapolis. Andy riding with Indy here. Seems to be kind of all out here on the Rams. Indy's just that team that you go for when they're
playing good football, and I don't understand the things the Rams did this last week. I almost feel like this is anybody's game. I was giving Indy the home, the benefit of the doubt being there.
Yeah, -1.
Yeah, we'll see if Richardson's back. I don't know if he will be. But, Gardner Minshew plays good football. I mean, he's about as good of a backup as you can have in this league. Yeah, Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman's become a good receiver again all of a sudden out of nowhere. Like, a viable option. I'm drinking it. I don't know what Matt did and what Sean did the other night, but it did kind of sour me, at least for a week. So we'll see. Maybe I'll be back on the Rams train next week. Just not now.
He's taking a rotation shift off.
I just think Aaron Donald against that Colts offensive line is going to be a problem. I mean, he's a problem for every offensive line, but the Colts offensive line is not good. They're rebuilding it. If Richardson plays, maybe his elusiveness and his ability to run can help, but I just think Donald's going to be in the lap of the quarterback all night.
Oh, yeah. Man's going to eat.
Rams got to find some fucking points, though. Jesus Christ.
Tampa Bay on the road in New Orleans. And Gary's on the New Orleans Island here, and this is another lock alert.
No, hold on. I'd never changed this after you said you changed your pick. So this is you're on New Orleans as well.
Right. Sorry. But yes, this is a lock alert.
Yes.
That's on me. So this is Jameis. I mean, I think Jameis is going to be the difference maker here. You know, I'm not 100% convinced that the Buccaneers are going to be able to keep up, especially at the Dome. I'd like to see. I feel like this -3 is a good spread. I feel like that's good. That's a good enough lock. I see this being, you know, probably a one possession game, but I think with how bad some of the defensive play is here, it's probably going to be a 21-28 kind of game.
Yeah, I like the pick. Obviously, I picked New Orleans to win as well. I like the lock. If you're going to win, I think that New Orleans at home, that dome itself is a field goal, right? For me, and against Tampa, I think New Orleans is probably a field goal better than them. So if you add the home field of a field goal plus a field goal better in terms of a team on a neutral site, right? What I mean is on a neutral site, I think New Orleans wins by a field goal. At home, you add that field goal to it. I think your pick is solid. I also like them getting Kamara back. I like if Jameis continues to play like we saw him play last year, he can be steady. And I think that's all they really need out of him. Just don't be 30-30 Jameis. Yeah. The last time we saw him in Tampa. And New Orleans' defense is the real deal. I don't know if anybody's been paying attention to how well they play defensively. Fourth quarter of last game aside, where they got really fucked by some bad field position that their offense couldn't move the ball. This New Orleans defense is the real deal. They're going to give Baker and company fits. They always play Mike Evans tough, right? They seem to have his number. I like your pick, but I'm curious. Andy, you went with Tampa. You ended up on the island. What, you believe in Baker and you don't believe in Jameis, or?
No. I mean, the Bucs have just kind of won me over a little bit. I mean, I think they played a couple of tough first games. They looked better than we thought they would look against the Bears and the Vikings. I thought they played Philly tougher than 11 points gives them credit for offensively. I don't think they're a good team. I think they're better than we've gone out, and not just us, but the national media has gone out and kind of dragged them a little bit. So I think they're a better team than that. I think the Saints are tough, but I think the Saints are totally capable of collapsing. We just watched it happen. I mean, you named a few things. Obviously, the defense is really good. If they get Alvin Kamara back, sure. Crab legs in the building, but
facts.
No, this one is one of those ones where normally I would say, the home team, that's what I want to go with. And I something was telling me Tampa. So we'll see how wrong I am come Sunday.
Riding with his gut. No, that's ain't a damn thing wrong with it. I definitely waffled on
his gut too, kids.
Who you telling? Yeah. All right, Washington on the road in Philly. We're unanimous with Philly, and we have a back-to-back lock alert. Eagles currently sitting -7.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going at Gary all night here. Seven.
You're not going to offend me.
Seven seems too small.
You knew that.
I keep shitting on Washington. I don't. Just seven doesn't seem big enough. I don't.
Yeah.
I think
I'm taking -9.
Yeah, I think it's a 2-touchdown game all day. Call me what I mean. I don't even really have much of an explanation. I think Philly, I said it earlier, they look good, despite the offense not looking the way they looked last year, and Washington's struggling, man.
Yeah, listen, I have no counterpoints for you. The one thing is, I was actually literally about to say, like, this can sometimes be one of those games. Like,
it can.
Remember last year when Philly was 11-0 and Washington went in and just fucking dragged them with the run game and played fucking defense, spying on Jalen Hurts.
Divisional rivals,
These
man.
rivalry games can be like that, man. But you're absolutely right, Andy. Like Washington, even in their 2 wins, they didn't look good. Philly has looked really good defensively, and if they score 20 points, they might win by 10 or 12, right? The Washington's offense until Eric Bieniemy shows me that he's willing to commit to the run and play off of the run with the offense, which is our strength. I don't know why he's going away from it. 7 points is probably not enough. You're probably right. This just feels like this could be a trap. That's all I'm going to say.
I think that if the Commanders win this weekend, I'm bowing out of the conversation. Andy, I suggest you do the same. And this is just we're going to get like a good 2 minutes of Gary praising the Commanders. That's what I want. If they pull off. I don't know. I wasn't pushing that far.
Yeah.
I'm not pushing that far. I'm trying to keep it realistic.
Let's make a deal. Let's make a deal right now.
Fucking Riverboat Ron.
You have to come on the show dressed as Ron.
Love it.
Yeah, I mean it's a rivalry game. It's maybe they're going to show some pride and want to play better than they played against Buffalo. They got dragged against Buffalo. Yeah. No, your logic is pretty flawless there, Andy. I don't have a counterpoint to it other than division rival, and sometimes these games can just be that way. It's in Philly though, right? Like if this game was in DC or Landover, right? Not DC. I don't want to offend the fucking nation's capital, but if this was played in Landover, maybe I'd have a counterpoint for you that, Philly on the road is not the same as Philly at home, but I don't have a counterpoint for you. I really don't.
Yeah. Surprise, Gary's not going to defend that. We got it. All right. So Cincinnati on the road in Tennessee. I'm on Tennessee Island here, and I mean, honestly, a lot of it just has to do with Burrow. Like I'm concerned about him. I don't know how he's going to do back to back. And that's not even trying to credit the defense. It's just, we obviously didn't expect him to come back last week, and him coming back this week, it just seems too soon.
Yeah, no. My biggest question about this game is, are the Titans going to score a touchdown? Because they've gone back-to-back games without scoring a touchdown. So that's the biggest thing. We talked a little bit about it earlier. Tennessee looks like they're probably at the end of whatever road they've been on, with being able to win that division and make a couple of playoff runs and compete. And
they should be at their end of the road with Tannehill too. I mean,
we
got to admit
the big thing for me is Derrick Henry looks like he's not the mutant anymore. He looks human. He's not running through tackles the way he used to. He's not running away from guys the way he used to. And of course, we all know, right? Father Time is undefeated. It just sucks to see that happen because he's been such a fun guy to watch with just the way he's built different than other running backs, and he's fast. Like he's 6'4", I think 6'4".
Nobody that big should be that goddamn
fast. Runs a fucking 4.4 40. Yeah. But it looks like, that mutant DNA is starting to break down and he's becoming human.
So this is kind of, Senior, this is kind of the reason why, like, I held out and I like the idea of Tennessee here, is because they probably should consider sitting him.
They certainly should consider it. Absolutely.
They should consider sitting him. And this is kind of what I'm holding out on, is that somebody's going to watch that game tape enough to see how flat-footed he was and be like, let's give him a fucking break. Now, they're not going to do that because they've already won a game, and it's been another week, so they're expecting probably to push through with Burrow. But, like, this is going to be the same. I mean, they're going to run him out of steam before his prime. And that's
the big thing you can't do in the NFL either is take things for granted. So if he's injured and they decide they want to sit him, they probably should make the decision early to get the no-name backup quarterback ready to go, because I'll give anybody $5 if they can name the backup quarterback in Cincy without Googling it. I looked it up 2 weeks ago and can't remember who it is. That's how fucking useless that guy is. So maybe against a Titans team that's struggling, but it is hard in the NFL to say, like, we're just going to take this one for granted.
Right. 100%. On to the next one. Vegas on the road in Los Angeles. So not too far of a trip. All of us unified here. Look, Vegas is not ready to be good yet. And I think they can win. I think that the Chargers can win in spite of Brandon Staley.
Yeah, this is more about Vegas. They're not good.
Yeah,
they're
not good. Yeah, Andy's
maybe
same
an
way.
Eckler appearance.
I'm hoping so. Got him in a couple of leagues.
It'd be nice. It'd be nice. Oh, okay. All right. New England on the road in Dallas. Gary riding with New England. This is so fucking rude, dude. This is so fucking rude.
Listen, what did Arizona do against the Cowboys last week?
Yeah, be super modest about this. Go ahead. Yeah.
What did Arizona do against the Cowboys last week?
What did they do to the Cowboys?
What did they do against the Cowboys last week? They ran the ball.
Mm-hmm.
They took care of the football, and they played really fucking sound defense.
Yeah.
What are three things that New England is better at than the Cardinals? Running the ball, controlling the ball, and playing really good defense. And it's in Gillette. That's my rationale for it. I did not like what I saw from the Cowboys last week. I did not like what I saw from the offense, not being able to muster up any fucking heart, any fucking effort. They look like shit. Mike McCarthy's play calling is so goddamn vanilla, I would eat it on a fucking ice cream cone. It is fucking terrible. He should not be a play caller, should not be a head coach in the NFL. And if they don't turn Mac Jones and company over, New England's going to fucking run them out of the building, dude. Ramondre Stevenson, chalk it up, probably 100 yards. Might even get fucking 50 yards from their backup there. So, listen, it's the recipe's there, and you know goddamn well Bill Belichick's going to do a much fucking better job than Johnny Suckadick down there coaching the team in fucking Arizona.
Christ.
Johnny Suckadick. What?
He said Johnny Suckadick. Yo, that hat game is absolute fire, Andy. Like, absolute fire emojis. Wow. Fantastic.
I think if Dallas scores 16,
don't do that.
If Dallas scores 16, they can beat the Patriots. That's my thing. 16 might beat New England. I don't think New England's good enough offensively to get it done.
You know what's even more crazy is Dallas -7 favorites.
I don't think that's crazy. I don't think it's nuts. I don't think it's nuts at all. I wish I would have picked that as my lock. Yeah. No, I listen. I just.
Oh, by the way, they're not in Gillette. They're in Dallas.
Did I read that? But I don't.
Yeah, it is in Dallas.
Don't care. Yeah. Don't care.
Well, you should, because that was kind of a fundamental part of your argument. But yeah, sure.
It was part of my argument. It wasn't a fundamental part.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You made that shit a catalyst.
I don't know that it was a catalyst, but yes, it was.
Guess what fits in Bill Belichick's fucking suitcase? The defense.
You drove the Gillette truck to the argument, but
I didn't. I made 3 key
I just
points,
refused delivery.
And then I said, and they're playing at Gillette. No, they're not playing at Gillette. So they'll win by 5 instead of 9.
Okay.
Oh, no.
We'll see, Aaron. We'll see.
I'm going to be more happy to hear the praise of the Cowboys next week than I am even the Redskins. So, because let's change it back. I'm just no longer going to accept them.
They're being sued right now, actually, to change.
I know. It's fantastic. I love
that.
Wow.
You know?
Wow.
Just woke whites, you know?
Times.
Yeah. We're taking it back.
Yeah, for sure. Well, listen, one team, and we talked about it earlier, that's not going to win this week is the fucking Cardinals, as they're about to get absolutely murdered, bro, in the Bay Area. It's going to be 187 in the yay. It's going to be extra bad. So
yeah, they're going to get me
by a mile, bro.
Yeah, it's not going to be good.
You know what's
Whatever
crazy?
That number is, fucking lay it and bet the mortgage.
-1 of 1.4 cards.
No.
Swear to God.
No way.
ESPN, look at it.
No, it's San Fran minus 14.
Okay, good. This is outdated then.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's not good on ESPN's part. Jesus.
I swear to God, that's what it says.
That's terrible. They need to fix that now.
Yeah. This is about 10 hours
the
old.
app's got it minus 14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably a typo.
Yeah. It's got to be a typo.
No, the thing with 14 though is 14 can get fucking dicey.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's
Maybe
not
you don't make a mortgage on 14.
That's not a lock.
No, I listen. It's not a lock. I would be.
I'll take -9.
Right, I'll take -10. 14 is where
scores,
I start to get a little fuck things up like the Cowboys. San Fran, I think is a little.
We're not going to talk about that anymore, Aaron. All right, we're past that. That's behind us.
I don't know this week, man. San Fran.
No,
they're humming, dude. They're humming.
I don't think they're gonna.
I don't think they'll ever lead.
I don't think they'll ever lead. I don't think they'll score 2 touchdowns.
I agree.
Yeah.
This is probably like a 31-10 game or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say 31-9, no touchdowns for the Cardinals.
But even still at 31-10, you're sweating that 14 because of garbage.
Oh, for sure.
Touchdown. Garbage time touchdown can change.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they've got third string defenders out there, and then fucking somebody gets spry on the Arizona offense.
Yep.
And just absolutely ruins your day for
unless
garbage
you're the Broncos
time.
Up on the Dolphins by 50.
You lose to fucking garbage time. Anyways, Kansas City on the road in New York, all of us unanimous here. This is a fucking no-brainer. I mean, there's nothing to talk about here. Jets are garbage. Onwards.
Defense is tough, but you can't keep the Chiefs down all day, and Zach Wilson's not going to score points.
No, just don't get your quarterback killed, Chiefs. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
So
running the ball a lot.
Last one, also a no-brainer. Seattle on the road in New York. New York, really, really good at losing. Just the whole state taking L's, dog.
And we all picked against the spread.
In the locks?
No, I'm saying New York is favored.
Oh, yeah. That's 1.5, right? I believe.
Which is crazy.
It's 1.5.
Yeah.
So we didn't pick it. I'm saying we picked against. Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
But also beat the Cardinals, so let's make that make sense, you know?
Home team vibes.
Yeah. Well, we've got our picks done.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you didn't see last week, 3-0 on the locks, if you're going to bet it, it was almost 6-1 on your money.
Oof.
Yeah.
I wish I would have bet it.
I did, actually.
And, here's the thing, too, I don't know, like, for people betting, if you got, the DraftKings or fucking FanDuel or Caesars or whatever, generally speaking, you're probably going to get, like, a boost, too. So, like, that very easily could have been, like, a 1,200.
Could have been, yeah.
Plus,
yeah, I bet it almost immediately after the show. I said, I'm going to, from now on, since we're doing the locks, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is.
Well, I should probably do that, too. I had all kinds of 50. I had 50% boosts last week. So, like, if I would have bet that,
that'd be cool because I would like to just know because sports betting's still fucking illegal in Texas. So I would still like to see. I would like to see just how much money or how much parlay odds you're winning at the end of the season.
250 paid out of almost $1,700 for me, boys. I appreciate you.
Hey, man, you're welcome. You're welcome. My one
this
pick
week's
was
this week's. If anybody's gonna bet it, it's plus 627 this week.
627.
Yeah, because we're getting plus juice on the Packers because I took them money. They're plus 102, but we're not giving up the 10% juice on it. So over 6-1.
Who did we finish with? Oh, I'm not fucking betting that.
Packers money. Yeah, I know. This week, I guess we're not going right. Yes. Packers money line, Eagles minus. Oh, it's up to -8 now. I think that's what you put in the Facebook, right, Andy? -8.
I think it was -8.
Yeah.
When I put it
and then Saints -3. So, yep, it's going in right now.
It does change, though. Like I said, when we did it earlier, the Detroit game was even.
300
And then I noticed it
and
1.5.
2,200 bones.
Let's go.
Absolutely.
See how it pays out.
And again,
Hey,
a lot of those
we're giving out winners here. I'm going to take them.
Yeah,
they offer the boost
right.
too. So if
Pay
you get
attention.
that boost,
Yeah,
I had a 50% boost last week. So like,
share it with your.
I mean, that just kills you. It takes your odds all the way up. So
share it with your
have an
degenerate
NFL
friends. We're
NFL
picking
boost.
winners out here.
oh, I got all kinds of them.
I don't have an NFL boost right now, but if I got another one by the weekend, maybe I'll throw another.
Usually, I don't know what you're using. Usually on FanDuel, I get them on. I get them on Saturday night or Sunday morning.
Yeah, I've had them come in Saturday before, and I'm like, I already put the fucking parlay in. Fuck.
Yeah, it sucks.
Then they entice me to fucking bet more.
Bet more.
All right, folks. Well, good episode, boys. Another episode of Backyard Blitz brought to you by Backyard Sports. We'll see you guys next Tuesday night when we go to preview week 4 or review week 4 and preview week 5. And, looking forward to some speeches from Gary where he's going to fucking eat some crow and I'm going to serve it up to him the only way I know possible. It's fucking rabid and cold. So from all of us here at Backyard Sports, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Senior, Altas, Robert Leader, good to see you guys. We'll see you guys next week, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're out of here.